Welcome to Bike World. Welcome to a quick spin on QJ's new SVT 650 and 650X. Now, if you don't know who QJ are, they're a Chinese bike manufacturer that are huge. They have around 60 models available in China, but in the UK, there's going to be around 15 different new models as we go from this year into next. And this is just an example of one of them. Now, normally here at Bike World, when we have an adventure bike like this, we give it to Chris. He takes it to Wales and he tries to break it. But this is more of a sensible introduction to not just QJ, the Chinese motorcycle manufacturer, but to something a little bit more sensible, this being the SVT 650. So this is the QJ 650 SVT SX. It's got about 10 different names, but essentially it's a Chinese-made QJ adventure bike 650 V-twin. Same bore and stroke as Suzuki's awesome old V-Strom 650. The big talking point, under £6,000. Even for this model with bespoke wheels, and for that you get everything. Hard luggage, both panniers and top box, adjustable screen, really informative clocks, backlit switchgear, ABS, Brembo brakes, adjustable suspension. What else do you need? Oh, heated grips, yeah, heated seat, yeah. There's a lot of spec for under £6,000 with similar power to the old V-Strom 650, and they are just literally arrived in the UK, and we're going to go for a quick spin to see what it's like. First impressions of the QJ. I've ridden a QJ before. I think it was the 800 that I've ridden before a couple of months ago back in Germany, so I'm familiar with this kind of dash and switch gear. Switch gear is nice and backlit, looks a little bit cheap on the switches. The dash is really clear, really nice and informative. I've got not only the tyre pressure front and rear, I've also got temperature. So the rear tyre is 23, the front's 22. I can't remember the last time I rode a bike that had that. I'm going to go for a little spin, a bit more RPM, a bit more revs, see if it's vibey, see if it's got enough power to pull its rather heavy arse, and with the panniers in the top box, heavier still. The suspension, as you would expect, is soft, but not like overly. It's just comfortable. It's just trying to control the weight. It's only on the direction changes where you go left to right is when you start to feel the weight of it. When you're braking over bumps, it's like you notice that you're trying to stop quite a bit of weight. ABS is okay. I can feel it working from time to time, but it's not prehistoric ABS. Same with the traction control. It's pretty basic, but it works. Now, if you don't know who QJ are, they're a Chinese bike manufacturer that are huge. They have around 60 models available in China, but in the UK, there's going to be around 15 different new models as we go from this year into next. And this is just an example of one of them. Now, before we get into the spec and power and torque and everything, let me just talk to you about price. All this, everything, not including the helmet, £6,000. Now, I know I sounded a little bit like Del Boy then, but it is £6,000 for the lot. You can have it at £6,000, and that's everything. That's the top box, that's the panniers, that's the heated seat, that's the heated grips, that's the backlit switchgear, that's the ABS, that's the traction control, that's the adjustable screen, the massive TFT dash, the Bluetooth connectivity, the tyre pressure monitor.
Well, it's kind of interesting in that we just stopped for a while, and my front tyre pressure is 18 and my rear is 17, and it was 20 something on the motorway.
There is a lot of bike, all the crash protection, the Brembo brakes, the quality tyres. It's got brands that we recognise, like Brembo. It's not got brakes that we've never heard of. It's not got tyres that we've never heard of. Everything feels robust and it feels quite solid. And all that under £6,000. Mechanically, it's a V-twin. It's a 645cc V-twin developing 75 horsepower with 65 Newton meters of torque. And if you're really anal and boring and you look at the bore and the stroke, it's exactly the same as an SV650 of old, if you remember the SV650 V-twin, which isn't a bad thing, and it's almost a compliment to Suzuki. So clearly somebody in China at QJ went, that's quite a good bike, let's kind of copy it a little bit. There's two different models. We've got the standard SVT and this is the X. On the X, we get the tubeless spoked wheels, but they're still exactly the same size. So 19 on the front and a 17 on the rear. Suspension is Marzocchi, front and rear, again with some adjustment, just preload on the rear. 20 litre fuel tank capacity. It is ticking a lot of boxes. Normally, in the past, when I've ridden kind of like a Chinese bike, then it's got suspension I've never heard of and tyres I've never heard of and brakes I've never heard of. But this is Marzocchi, this is Brembo, this is familiarity. It's got really clear and simple and easy to use dash. It's really informative. It even does the actual temperature of the tyres, front and rear, as you're riding along. It's all active and does it as you ride. In terms of downsides, I think there's no hiding the fact that it's a little bit heavy. The quoted weight is 236 kilograms, and I don't think that's with the boxes. So it does feel a little bit heavy. That 20 litre fuel tank does feel a little bit top heavy. There's a few little places like on the switch gear where you can see where they've maybe cut a few corners in terms of cost, and a few little places like on the exhaust. But it's a massive step over what Chinese bikes used to be. And even bikes from India as well. I'll include that into the category. This no longer feels like a bike that's way behind the Europeans or way behind the Japanese. QJ have really upped the market and really kind of right on the heels of the Japanese manufacturers. It's down in terms of refinement, it's down in terms of power. It's not got a lot of power to carry a lot of weight, but it seems to be able to control that. It seems to be manageable. But I don't think it's as lively as what the V-Strom used to be. And when you look at other bikes in this class, it's not, say, as lively as Suzuki's current 800, or if you look at Honda's Transalp, if you're looking at bikes like that. But they're nowhere near 5999. So then I guess it's kind of competing with Moto Morini and other bikes that are made in China. We just wanted to jump on the bike at Bike World and get some first impressions. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. It's kind of one of those bikes that just does what it says on the tin. I've got bikes at home that are just like two-wheeled cars. They're just transport to me. I've got an old BMW RT that is completely battered, and I know Chris has got bikes that are similar, that they're just a way of getting from A to B and carrying luggage and getting somewhere warm and dry, and that's what this does really well. When I was working at MCN, I had a V-Strom 650 long-termer for a few months over winter, and I absolutely loved it because it was brilliant, comfortable, roomy, spacious, great on fuel, could carry luggage, and I had aftermarket heated grips. And this, and I mean this as a compliment, this feels like a V-Strom 650 of 5 or 6 years ago, but with loads of spec, brand new, with 2 years warranty for under 6 grand. I guess we need to do 2 more tests at Bike World with this. It'd be great to see what Chris could do with it. How long is it going to take for Chris to break it? And we also need to put it against the competition, which for me is more of the Chinese imported competition, or maybe just a V-Strom of a few years ago. But we thought we'd just give you a little glimpse into the world of QJ motorcycles here at Bike World. Let us know what you think. Do you want us to test more of these? Do you want more of an in-depth test? Do we need to do more miles? Or we just need to give it to Chris and see if you can break it? Any technical questions, fire them below and we'll get back to you with the answers.